And we'll see. I mean, remember, guys, it's a best of 3. Dark's already almost there. It does seem like Dark, though, does have a better understanding of how Zerg should play against Protoss when compared to a lot of the other races, or other players, excuse me, I should say, that we've already seen here. So maybe MyuNgSiK could come up with something, but for the time being, I don't know, man. It's looking like Dark should be taking it.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got the lead here. MyuNgSiK also looks really frustrated, and going into such a short series like this, a small best of 3, you never really want to have that tilt going into your mind in a series like this.
SSL, a very unforgiving tournament. We are going to see if MyuNgSiK can turn this around. Right now, Dark looking very, very solid. And we're trying to get joined into this game here. We're actually inside of a pro gamer booth, by the way, guys. This is kind of cool. There's 3 booths here. And are we going to be able to do it, Wolf? Can we make it?
I think so. I'm jumping in.
We got logged out for a second.
Yeah, they told me to reconnect.
This is sort of the equivalent of like the 80s movie where we have that one guy that's the hacker. Although, he's like the guy that informs like the strike team. Although in, 2016, that's basically a guy with Google. But, that was this moment right here, Wolf, is Wolf's got to like log in, Yeah,
I've got like my mic on the table. I'm like, it's not even in my hand. I'm just logging in as fast as I can.
It was intense, man. I thought we weren't going to be able to join that game. We'd have to cast off the dirty feet screen here we have on our left. But we did make it in, and game number 2 is ready. Tell your friends to join us here at the SSL, casted by Tasteless and Wolf. And we are back. In the bottom right, in the red, he is Dark. And in the blue, in the bottom left, our Protoss player, MyuNgSiK.
MyuNgSiK clearly frustrated with the situation. And now, keep in mind, he is going into Ruins of Saris, which is, I'd say, one of the better maps for Zerg because it takes a lot more time to pressure, even with your initial adepts on this map.
Yeah, that's very true.
Even though they're at like horizontal spawns with each other, at the bottom, they're not cross spawn or anything like that. It's still a pretty long walk. There's a lot of bases you can take as a Zerg safely, and there's not like a ton of. I'd say actually, the warp presence is quite strong on this map still, but it's not a map where you're worried about Protoss counterattacks where they're coming across to kill you because they're further away in general. But this is the unluckiest spawn, I would say, for Dark for that, unless he himself wants to be aggressive, as we saw him in the previous game.
That's certainly an option as well. I guess I'll have to play around the fact the Adept is in the game. By the way, to what I was saying earlier here, before we had our crisis moment where we almost didn't get in that game, good handling of that, Wolf. We're actually, there are 3 pro gamer booths in this studio.
That's right.
There's the 2 are downstairs, right?
Yeah, there's 2 downstairs.
I'm still pretty new to the studio. Oh yeah, okay, I see where they are now. So the 2 pro gamers are downstairs in their booths, and there was a 3rd booth. I believe they use this occasionally in Pro League. Is that correct?
So I'll tell you the history of this booth. There's actually a 4th booth that isn't used at all. There's like actually
a secret booth.
There's a secret booth. It's like got a fax machine in it.
It's an unlockable booth. There's a booth with a fax machine.
Yeah, there's like a fax machine over there, and that other booth across the way.
Wow, Spo the fax machine gets a booth.
Now these 2 booths that are up on the 2nd floor actually were originally used for the ace players.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was for the ace match.
Yeah. And then that ended up causing problems. Some of these computers in here had problems, so they ended up just kind of scrapping that idea because it was too just logistically complicated. But anyway, the booths that are downstairs are actually extended as well. You can have actually like about 3 or 4 pro gamers in them at a time. They could be used for other games like MOBAs, for example, as well.
Yeah, so this is actually, I got to say, this is kind of weird. I played in a lot of tournaments growing up, but I never was in a booth. Yeah. So it's really weird to be casting this from a pro gamer booth, but this is pretty cool. So, anyways, I'm just really happy to be down here. This is so cool doing SSL. Yeah, very grateful, Spo, and you guys brought me on board. This is a lot of fun.
Glad to have you here.
We have the 2 Adepts coming up here now, chasing out those lings, and let's see how much damage these Adepts actually do.
Well, these two drones right here are totally exposed. He's probably going to have to like extract or cancel those in order to save them. Actually, the Adept's not even chasing them, so they get away for free. But just pressuring here a little bit. He's not really committing to these Adepts. We see different Pro players have different styles about how much they actually commit to that harassment. And MyuNgSiK seems to be pretty conservative. He's got the Shade about to send those away. Forced a lot of Lings, so it means he's, you know, he's only at 34 drones right now because he made Lings instead of drones. Now we do have, again, Tasis, that Overlord speed. Now we see the Evolution Chamber. Pretty high chance we're going to see some more drops here. And it is going to be the same one Stargate Phoenix again here from MyuNgSiK, not two. Playing his own style of this meta, and a quick lair. Smells like Nidus.
Smells like Nidus to me, buddy. Why not, though? You know, it's a best of 3. He already won in a pretty solid game. A bit more reliant on timing attacks. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but that's what he was going for. And let's see if the Nidus play works out. I mean, Protoss is taking 3 bases quite quickly, and it's really all just hinged on the fact that the Adept is such a difficult unit to deal with, but the Adept is not going to stop Mass Nidus, if that's in fact what he goes for.
Yeah. So we do see Mass Adept is the tech of choice here from MyuNgSiK.
Name of the game, Wolfie.
That's right. He's getting a few Phoenixes out as well, and they're going to, you know, keep Overlords away. They're going to be able to harass a little bit. Spore Crawler's going up with a scout on the Phoenixes. Now that lair is almost finished. He's adding extra gases too. You know, maybe I'm wrong about this. He just made a ton of Lings, however, to help deal with these Adepts that he has also scouted.
I like the pressure build here from the Adepts. I don't know if he's actually going to full-on engage. Seems like he's actually just trying to get in here and do some damage. The Lings can come in for the surround, but I think it's already clear he's probably not going to go any further in there. He does shade back. That's pretty cool. We don't see that as much as just Mass Adept pressure, but that is one way to make sure that Zerg is not making as many drones as they'd want to. Yeah, and there's a ton of Lings on the map right now, 36 of them. These Adepts are near these safety pylons that are going to be blocked with the Overlord, excuse me, with the... what I'm trying to say is he's going to put gateways there to help protect those pylons if you start walling that off further. Now, these Phoenixes have not yet seen the Hydra Den. And so instead of Nidus, it looks like it's just going to be a quicker Hydra Den for safety versus the Phoenixes. And then later on, you know, he's obviously going to go into those Lurkers, which are really the late game unit that Zerg is using right now versus Protoss. Yeah, I mean, it can be tough for Protoss to deal with, especially if you get them in a large amount. You got to be careful, though, with Lurkers. You don't want to have them ever in a position where they can be surrounded. That was always the way to beat Lurkers, was to just out-angle them. Yep. But if he can do a good pressure build, it's going to be really difficult to deal with.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because, you know, they only do shoot in a line, and that's where their damage kind of stacks up and is the most useful. A ton of Hydras coming out here right now, but they're not ready yet, so these Phoenixes can still run free through this base, racking up quite a few kills, 5 more with that last attack, putting the Cross ahead in workers currently.
Looks like the Lings may try to dive in here. Phoenix is still applying a good amount of pressure. Zealot Legs is being upgraded, and the Templar Archives has started, and you really just need to get the Templars out. That's how you want to respond to you know, Lurker Hydra. It's always, you know, it's just like Brood War. It's always been the way. You need to have Storm.
Yeah.
That's how you punish that.
Yeah, I mean, Storm is such a great tool versus that sort of army comp because it's all very squishy, and also you can hit the Lurkers even if you don't have vision. Now here comes this Overlord. He's got his angry Overlord horns, the dropship Overlord. He's going to come over here into the natural. Meanwhile, a drop of MyuNgSiK's own is coming out across the map. And he keeps finding drones. Despite the high Hydralisk count, he's still finding damage, but there's nothing here to protect his natural. He has no units, and I think he just did a warp in elsewhere, so he's going to be in some serious trouble here. A lot of Lings coming into this base, and there's nothing to defend. He has to pull the probes. And the Warp Prism just goes down for free.
Oh, man. Really bad start here from MyuNgSiK. And already this drop doing a ton more damage than that drop that MyuNgSiK was sending over there to Dark. He's going to get this in control. Artosis Pylon!
Oh, so many gates.
Out.
6 gates unpowered. And this is a big, big problem for MyuNgSiK. This is the first problem MyuNgSiK's had in this game. I was about to say right before this drop happened, I feel like MyuNgSiK's so much more comfortable in this game. He's got the more tech, faster.
Oh my god, It's not stopping. The Lings are in the main. He might even be able to get the Nexus with that many Lings over here. The Phoenix is coming over here, trying to do as many pickups as possible, but of course Phoenix is not that great against Lings since you can only pick up so many units at once. He now rotates over here into the back.
So 2 full bases is not mining right now.
By the way, Zerg's almost maxed.
Yeah, and he's coming across the map with Hydras. He's going to have Roach speed. So Ravager's being made currently. Checking, I don't think he even made a Lurker, then I think he just wants to end this with pure Hydra, basically. There's not enough Protoss on the ground to stop. The Storm is just now finishing. He has a few High Templar. These Storms are going to be so important right now.
Okay, he's just got to bait out about 2 more Storms, and he can probably dive on top of that. You see the Ravagers coming up here right now.
Here they come. More and more of them morphing. Roach speed nearly done. And this is just really a new timing that's unlocked here for Dark. He wants to hit before the Protoss can amass an army. And look at this. He's got such a good angle. This Storm is really, really dealing quite a lot of damage, but he finds another good angle, and he's just wiping these Zealots out every time they charge down the ramp. And he's eventually just got such a good angle. I think this 3rd base is surely going to fall.
Yeah, I don't see the 3rd base staying in there. I think that there's no way. He can't even get his units out in a comfortable fashion here. There is 1 Immortal up here, but I just don't believe that's going to be enough. Zerg continuing to mass out even as units are taken down. GG. Dark wins game number 2, closing out this series.
Yeah, he looked confident, not overconfident, but he really just crushed MyuNgSiK there with simply 1 unit. It's the morphed Overlord, the dropping Overlord, you know? That's how he took MyuNgSiK apart today in both games. I feel like in game 2, MyuNgSiK was in such a good place. He had Storm up so quickly. Without that disruption of that drop, he would have had a lot bigger of an army. He would have been in a better position to hold that Hydra push. But the drop just put him totally crosswires, you know, like he didn't have enough money to keep making units. He had basically a pure charged Zealot army with, what, 2 High Templar with Storms? It's such a flimsy army versus Roach Hydra. Not a single Lurker in that mix. A few Ravagers, but that wasn't even, like, Corrosive Biles weren't even what turned that fight around. So
he played really well. Dark seems to have a very deep understanding of that matchup. I look forward to seeing more from him, especially in that matchup as we continue on in the SSL.
We're going to jump into this interview here with Dark to see what he has to say about that series we just watched. I have no audio of said interview, so I'm going to have to rely on my production for this one. So he said he never really remembers, you know, winning like such a team kill match. But he knew he could defeat his opponent today. So when he was practicing, he knew. That's right, they're actually on the same team now. I didn't really even think about that. This Pro League hasn't started yet. I don't think about teams as much. So yeah, basically what he's saying now is after the qualifiers, he was happy. He was happy because it wasn't a team kill, but then he just joined SKT. So what he's saying is basically like he was happy when he found out it was MyuNgSiK, when MyuNgSiK his teammate, so it made him feel a bit bittersweet about it. And then he, you know, was just again referencing that MyuNgSiK is a new teammate for him. MyuNgSiK's been through many, many teams in the past year, including Prime, KT Rolster, Spenu, as well as some foreign teams. The strategy that he used in the first game is the one that he used the most. He's been practicing the most. He knew if he attacked in 3 different locations, at least one of them would fall. And it worked out really well for him today. So he still feels that the Adept is overpowered right now, despite his win today. Not a unique opinion to Dark. A lot of Korean pros seem to feel the same way, including many pros, like Seed was probably the most outspoken. So even since Heart of the Swarm, I upgraded Overlord speed all the time, and I use them to scout. So it's pretty easy for me to adapt in going into Legacy of the Void, where you can actually, you know, use those Overlords with speed and drops. So it didn't feel like that strange to him to be using that new ability. And Dark's very famous for using Overlord speed to scout, even in ZDT. So he's talking about the Adept, and he's talking about how to beat it. You have to end the game before that unit comes out, or sort of prepare a strategy to deal with it, to counter the Adept. I think he means like adept comps in general, because I mean you can't like kill a Protoss before he does 2 gate adept like pressure. That's just simply impossible. But yeah, he's definitely saying it's possible to beat it, but difficult. So it's been a long time since you've been to the round of 8, and he said he's very happy he was able to get through this easily. And so he's going to try his best to go as far as possible in this tournament. And that'll about do it.
Really exciting stuff. Happy to see Dark move on. I can't say I'm too surprised. He looks phenomenal in that game.
Absolutely did, Tasteless. Well, we've got 3 more best of 3s coming up tonight.
We're going to take a short break. Sorry, I just choked myself. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we will continue on with today's SSL.